Mercy Me is coming to Pittsburgh. The Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Ripp. Thursday, October 5th. Bring your family and friends to the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Ripp live in concert. 3 multiple award-winning artists on one stage for one night. Let your spirit soar, your heart sing, and your faith ignite. Mark your calendars for Thursday, October 5th. Get your tickets now at mercyme.org.
What does it look like to cast a vision for where you want to be or who you want to be or what you want to do next year? It's not going to stay this dream in the clouds, a wish and a prayer. We're going to actually put it on paper and put it into action. That's all that goals are. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Christy Wright Show, where faith meets personal development so you can have a bigger faith and a better life. I'm so excited because today we are continuing our theme of planning for 2022. And this week is Christmas, so Merry Christmas. Hopefully you guys have some awesome plans. You're getting some time at home with the people that you love the most and enjoying all of your favorite holiday traditions. But I want to be that coach and that friend and that cheerleader in your corner reminding you, hey, the new year is coming up, and when it does, I want you to be ready. So definitely enjoy this moment. Be present in this amazing, magical season as we celebrate Christmas. And I want to continue the conversation, getting you ready and prepared as you're journaling and reflecting and planning ahead for 2022 and the goals that you're going to set. Now, if you've been tracking with me this month, I want to do a quick recap of what we've been talking about because it definitely informs what we're talking about this week. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about the importance of reflecting on what was before you make some new plans of what you want to do next. You're going to learn a lot by understanding what you don't want to do that you did this year and those things that you did that were right and awesome and you want to do more of next year. Then last week, we talked all about casting a vision. Zig Ziglar says, if you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. So you want to aim for something. You want to cast a vision for 2022. Will it change? Of course it will change. Of course it will change. But we want to start somewhere. So what does it look like to cast a vision for where you want to be or who you want to be or what you want to do next year in a big picture form? Now this week, we're taking that vision and we're going to put it into action with goals. That means that we are going to get specific and tactical with the vision that you set last week, and we're going to talk about how to make that vision come true. It's not going to stay this dream in the clouds, a wish and a prayer. We're going to actually put it on paper and put it into action. And really, that's all that goals are. Goals are the plan to get you to your vision. Goals are the plan and the tool to get you to where you want to be, from where you are today to where you want to be next year, where that vision becomes a reality. It doesn't happen by accident, and we know it's going to take some work on your part, but when you begin to take that vision and break it down into goals, you will see how it's possible. You know, I have run several half marathons in my life. I have run a couple full marathons. I've run several triathlons from the sprint distance to the Olympic distance. And when you look at that type of race on paper, especially if you've never done it before, it seems crazy, right? Like it seems crazy and impossible. Why would anyone want to run 26.2 miles, which is the length of a full marathon? And by the way, why would you want to actually pay to do that, to put yourself through that torture? You might look at that and think, gosh, that's just for certain people. That's for people that are born to run, people that are natural runners, people that were definitely cut out for that type of sport. You know, before I decided to run my first full marathon back in 2005, I had never run more than 4 miles. I had some friends talking about how they were going to train for a half marathon and a full marathon. I thought, I don't know. Sounds like a fun challenge. Maybe I'll do it too. Well, it felt intimidating, of course. It felt impossible. Of course, I had no proof that I could do this because I'd never run more than 4 miles. But I did something very simple. I downloaded a training plan. I remember going to the bookstore. This was back when people went to bookstores and bought real books and didn't have, Google that they resourced for every possible answer to every question. And I bought a marathon training book. And in this book was a plan. It was a very basic graph, an Excel spreadsheet, if you will, on paper here. And it showed you week 1, run this many miles each day. Week 2, run this many miles each day. Week 3, week 4, and so on all the way to week 16, which would have been race week in this particular training plan. Well, the long run that I would run on that Saturday of that very first weekend of the very first week was only 3 miles. Well, I'd run 3 miles before. I was like, okay, I'm going to run 3 miles this Saturday. I'm going to run 2 miles a couple days throughout this week. Well, then week 2, the long run on that weekend was 4 miles. And then it gradually increased until you got to your longest long run, which was about week 12 or 13, and that was going to be 20 miles. And when I looked at this plan, even though it felt very overwhelming, and even though it felt like a lot of hard work and a lot of miles and a lot of exhaustion and a lot of sweat and a lot of time and energy, I could see it. I could see how running 26.2 miles, even if you'd never run more than 4, was possible. That's what goals are. They begin to show you the path from where you are to where you want to be. This is your plan to get to your vision. So it's no longer this wish and a prayer in the clouds of, oh, someday I'd like to live on the East Coast, or someday I'd like to grow my business to this level, or someday I'd like to have this position in my company. You begin to back out of that vision to today, and you ask yourself, what must be true? What must be true today to begin to move me in the direction of that vision? What are the goals I need to set to get to where I want to be? What are the steps I need to take, the actions I need to take to begin to move in the direction of that vision? You might have several large goals, whether that's a revenue goal in your business or a weight loss goal in your health and fitness, or a promotion that you want to get, and you've got to hit several performance metrics to get to that promotion. You might have several big goals. You might break that down into micro goals, weekly tasks, weekly mileage in the running example. But when you take this vision and you begin to set goals around that vision, you can see it. And when you can see it, y'all, you can do it. That is the power of goals. Goals in and of themselves have no power whatsoever. It's just an idea on paper. It's an Excel spreadsheet and some numbers and some deadlines. That has no power at all. The power is the fact that it shows you that your dream isn't so crazy after all, that your vision is actually possible. And you begin to set out on that very first week, that first goal, that first micro goal, that first step. For me with seminary, it started with saying my dream out loud, and then asking a trusted mentor what seminary they would recommend, and then getting my transcripts from the University of Tennessee from 2005, where I went to undergrad. Small steps moving me in the direction of that vision that felt really scary and crazy, like I talked about last week. So what does this look like for you? What does it look like to not only cast your vision and have that vision inspire you, but break that down into actions and steps where you create a plan? You begin to create this training plan, if you will, that gets you in the direction that you want to go. If you begin to ask yourself what must be true today, you'll begin to see what you need to do to get to where you want to be. All right, you're ready to set goals. I can see it. I can feel it. You are ready to set some goals to get you to your vision for 2022, but you're thinking, what's a goal? Like, how do you write a goal? And you know what? I'm so glad you asked, because there are certain variables that make a goal by definition. And it differentiates what a goal is from a dream or a wish or just a nice idea that you hope happens and then never happens because you know what? It didn't become a goal. Let me give you some examples. Someone might say, I want to lose weight. That's a nice idea. That's not a goal. I want to grow my business. Cool. Not a goal. Someone might think, I want to advance in my career. That sounds lovely. None of those are goals. So what I want to do before we move on is I want to specifically give you the variables that make a goal a goal. By definition, if it doesn't have these things, it's not a goal. So you want to take your ideas, take your dreams, your wishes, your prayers, put these different elements into it in order to make it a goal. Let's walk through what these are. Number one, it needs to be specific. So I want to grow my business. A great question to ask yourself is how? How do you want to grow your business? By Facebook followers, by top line revenue, by your personal income, by the amount of clients that you serve, by the amount of team members that you have, by the amount of locations that you have. There's 6 ways to grow right there. And there's a ton more. So you need to be specific in how you want to grow your business. If it's another area, like let's say you want to advance in your career. I want to advance my career. Okay, how? In what specific department or what specific path or what specific level or title or area of responsibility? When you ask yourself how, it helps you think about this dream or this idea with more clarity. Put some specificity to it, and then you know exactly what you're working toward. So the first variable this idea needs to have to be a goal is it needs to be specific. The second is it needs to be measurable. You need to have some way to measure whether or not you reach the goal or not and how you're tracking along the way. So if I just said, I want to run, well, that's nice, but that is not specific and it's definitely not measurable. How much do I want to run? Well, a full marathon is 26.2 miles. That is measurable. You want to grow your business. Okay, let's say that you want to grow your business by top line revenue. Okay, now you've added a specific variable to it. The next question to ask yourself to make it measurable is by how much? By how much? How much do you want to grow it in top line revenue? Or how much do you want to grow your Facebook followers? Or how much do you want to grow your email list? Maybe if you're thinking about growing in your career, you not only pick the industry or the division you want to be in, but what specific title, what specific level, what specific size team. You put some measurable metrics around this so that you can know if you're hitting it or not, and you can track your progress along the way. I want to lose weight. Okay, how much? How much weight do you want to lose? I want to grow my muscle. Okay, by how much? How are you going to measure whether or not you've increased your muscle or not? And so when you not only make it specific, but make it measurable, now you know what you're working on and you know whether or not you're on track to get there. So goals need to be specific and measurable. Add these elements to your idea to make sure you know what you're supposed to do to make them happen. But the third thing is really important, and I don't want to miss this, a time limit. They need to have a time limit. When do you want this to happen by? By December of 2022? By June of next year? Maybe just the first quarter? What are the elements of this goal that play into the vision for next year? Some of them might be time sensitive, so they naturally have a built-in deadline. Like you might think, I want to run the St. Jude marathon. Well, that is December something of 2022. So it naturally has a built-in deadline because there's a date for that. But if you want to lose weight, how much by when? If you want to grow in your career or grow your business, how much by when? So when you make it specific and make it measurable and give it a time limit, now you have a goal. You know what you're working on, you know whether or not you're on track, and you know when you want to hit it by. And of course, if things change next year, and they will, you can reassess your goal. You can change your metrics, you can change the goal, you can change the timeline, you can move it up, move it back. You can move things around. This is your life. I just want to help you think through what your goals are so that you have a starting point to begin to work on them. So you're moving in the direction of your vision. So your goals need to be specific, measurable, and have a time limit. But let me give you a couple more things that are just going to set you up for success, okay? One thing you need to think about as you're setting your goals is you need to make sure this goal is yours. Yeah, yours. Not your husband's, not your mother's, not your friends, not your sisters. This goal needs to be yours because here is the truth. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. This needs to be a goal moving you toward a vision that you want. And of course, you can and should collaborate with your spouse and your family on what that looks like and how that plays into everyone's lives and calendars next year. You share your life with these other people. But if you're not on board with it, you're not going to do it. If you're doing something because you feel peer pressure to, or because Instagram defines a good mom this way, or because someone made you feel bad about how you look or the position you have, or you're comparing your business to someone else's, none of those are good reasons to set a goal around that. You're only going to do the work. You're only going to make the sacrifice and make the change to work on this goal and move towards your vision if you want it. Is this goal yours? Is this conviction in your spirit that you want it? Let me tell you something. Seminary is hard. It is complicated reading where I've never felt more dumb, words I don't understand. I need a dictionary to read the stinking book. It's a lot of hours, a lot of discussion posts, a lot of keeping up with the work in the middle of my busy life. If I didn't want to do that, I wouldn't do it. I'd make excuses and I'd give up. But it's something I wanted. In fact, I wanted it so much that I'm willing to do the work, even though most people around me think I'm crazy. Yes, people are supportive. They're like, good for you. What is she doing? You know what? Because that goal is mine, it is something I felt God called me to. The conviction is so deep within me. I'm willing to do the work, to work on that goal, to move in the direction of that vision. It has to be yours if you're going to do it. Make sure as you're writing out your plans for next year, as you're casting your vision and even setting goals and mile markers and micro goals along the way, that these are things that you want. These are things that you really want, moving you in the direction that you really want to go in if you're going to make it work. And then a very important quality in setting goals is putting it in writing. So they need to be specific, measurable, and have a time limit. They need to be yours and they need to be in writing. Y'all, research shows that you are 42% more likely to achieve a goal if you simply write it down. That's it. Write it down on paper. There is something powerful about getting ideas out of our head and into the real world on paper. You can put it on your phone, but I'll tell you, there's even research that backs this up. It's even more powerful if you put it in your handwriting. I don't care if it's on a napkin, a sticky note, a notepad, but when you put it in writing in your handwriting, it takes on a new level of power, of accountability. You begin to think about how this is possible and you begin to take ownership of it in a new way. So goals, if they're going to be real goals that move you in the direction of this real vision for next year, they need to be specific, measurable, and have a time limit. They need to be yours. You need to actually want to do this. And they need to be in writing. And y'all, this is the exact reason that I created my 2022 goal planner. This is the tool to help you do the things you're identifying that you want to do next year. This is the way that you write them down. And here's what's really cool. In the planner, every single quarter, so in April, at the end of the summer, and again in the fall, I give you a check-in to help you assess and reassess, hey, those goals that you set back in January, are they still right? Does something need to change? Has something changed in your life that you want to reassess that, set a new goal, maybe change your existing goal? Your life can and will change. And when you have a tool to help you stay on track with what's right now, to move in the direction of your vision, even if that changes slightly, that is pretty powerful. You can pick up your copy of the 2022 Goal Planner at RamseySolutions.com today, and you can get on track with your goals for the new year. All right, y'all, now is the time in the show when I get to take your calls, hear your stories, and answer your questions. So we're going to kick this off and go to Sarah in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, Sarah, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
So I am a nurse. Currently, I have my associates wanting to know if I'm crazy for wanting to go back to school to get my bachelor's right now.
Okay.
Just a little about me. I'm a mom of 3. They are 3 months, 19 months, and an almost 9-year-old. The one caveat here is my husband is in the military and he is getting ready to deploy in a couple weeks. So not sure if I even have the time to do this right now.
Oh, Sarah, first of all, you're in the trenches of littles. You got a 3-month-old and a 19-month-old. Like, you are in the trenches. So first of all, you're doing great. I don't know what you hear in your head, but you're doing great by just keeping up with these 3 little kids. Now let's unpack the school question though, because I want you to really think about what you're getting into. It might not be that you're not going to go to school. You might just not go right now. And so let's talk about this. Why do you want to go back to school? What are you working toward? What's kind of your vision or your goal for this?
Well, currently I'm at the bedside, working in a hospital. And really, I feel like if I ever want to step away from the bedside, having that bachelor's degree will really help me do that.
Yeah.
I don't see that at this moment because I do like working in the bedside. But yeah, if I ever choose to step away, go to case management, go to upper management, it's just one of those things that I'll have to have.
How long will it take you? How many hours do you have left, or what are you looking at from a time commitment standpoint?
I'm estimating about a year. So 2-3 semesters to get my bachelor's. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what I would do if I were you, and then know that you can do whatever you want to. So and there's a caveat to it. So if I were you, I would wait until your littlest one is like 2. So not wait a real long time, but I would wait until your husband is not deployed and you don't have 2 babies at home. Because my fear is this thing that you want to do that I think you'll actually really enjoy when you get into it is going to become a major stressor and not only take up so much time and stress you out, but I think it could even really steal your joy from this season that you're in with having 2 little babies, with the job that you're doing that you already love doing. There's no urgency from what I'm hearing in your voice that we need to do it right now. And so if it's not urgent for any reason, then I would not put yourself through the ringer, and that's exactly what that would be doing. In order to go right now, I would just set a goal and say, hey, when my youngest is 2, or whatever, you fill in the blank with whatever time frame feels good for you, and my husband's in town, then we'll look at going down that path. I will tell you, though, the caveat. Here's the caveat, and I want to make sure I hit on this. So about a year ago, I felt the Lord calling me to go to seminary. And Sarah, I just argued because I was like, that is ludicrous. I'm about to launch a book. I have 3 kids under age 6. Like, I don't have the time. There's no way. And the urging was so consistent, so persistent that eventually one morning, about 6 months ago, I said it out loud to my husband. I said, hey, I feel like God's putting this on my heart. And when I said that, tears streamed down my face and I knew I had to do it, and I had to do it now. There was something unique about that calling, that prompting, that now was the time to do it. And God in His grace has made it work for me in this season. I'm not saying it's easy, but I have help. My husband's at home. I started in the summer when my schedule is lighter. I've carved out time during my writing days to work on some of this stuff. And so I do always kind of give the caveat of, if God is calling you to do something, always obey. But I'm not hearing in your question, I'm not hearing in your voice that there's anything about this that is particularly urgent, that is time sensitive. Oh, I have to have this degree by this time to hit this goal, to hit this income, whatever. And in fact, it's kind of a really bad time because your husband's about to be deployed. And again, you're happy with the job that you have. So to me, this feels like a future goal, similar to, I want to get a dog, Sarah. I know that's not the same excitement level as you going back to school, but now's not the time for me to get a dog. We're dog people. We're excited about a dog, but I'm like, when Mary Grace is 5, we'll get a dog. Maybe I can handle a dog at that time. And I know this is such a bigger, more important decision than me getting a dog, but I think timing is everything. I love helping people figure out what the right things are for them at the right time, because a good thing at the wrong time is the wrong thing. And I don't want something that you enjoy, something you look forward to, something that could propel your career to be something that becomes something you dread, that drains the life out of you because you simply rushed it or tried to do it at the wrong time. If I were you, I would figure out a time frame that looks a little bit more conducive to your current schedule, in line with your goals, your husband's in town, and so on. And then I would pursue it at that time. Doesn't mean you can't start doing research, start talking to people. Where do you want to get your degree? Maybe start looking into some of those programs and just gradually work your way in that direction. But I definitely don't think, unless there is a God call on your life for right now, or unless there's a time-sensitive variable to this that you should put yourself through that with a 3-month-old, a 19-month-old, and a husband that's deployed. That's my take. But again, Sarah, you know your life and your situation better than I do. You do what's right for you. But I do think you can pursue this dream. I just want to help you find the right time to do it. Thanks for your call. And thank you, all of you guys that call in with your questions. I love hearing from you. I love hearing your stories. Keep sending them in to me on Instagram at Christy B. Wright. We'll get you scheduled to call into the Christy Wright Show. And as always, you can tune in next week for another new episode. For more encouragement on becoming the person you want to be, you can visit ChristyWright.com.
Mercy Me is coming to Pittsburgh, the Together Again tour with Mercy Me, Crowder, and special guest Andrew Rip, Thursday, October 5th. Bring your family and friends to the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for Mercy Me, Crowder, and Andrew Rip live in concert. 3 multiple award-winning artists on one stage for one night. Let your spirit soar, your heart sing, and your faith ignite. Mark your calendars for Thursday, October 5th. Get your tickets now at mercyme.org.